You know the feeling. You've done absolutely everything right. The room is pitch black, the temperature is perfectly dialed down, you've followed every piece of sleep hygiene advice on the internet, and yet you still wake up completely exhausted. Why does that happen? Well, for decades, we've treated sleep as a problem that originates strictly between our ears. A brain problem. But what if I told you that we've been looking at the wrong organ entirely? Today, in this explainer, we are going on a deep journey into the hidden operating system of the human body. We're going to uncover a biological matrix that dictates not just how you rest, but how you age, how you think, and ultimately, how you perform.
And that brings us to the central, really profound question we need to ask about our health. What invisible biological forces are shaping the quality of my life every single day? We are going to explore a world that exists inside you right now. Just imagine it. At this very second, millions of microscopic decisions are being made within you. There are these unseen biological gears turning, and they are determining your hormones, your mood, and your nervous system's ability to actually shift from survival mode into deep, restorative recovery. It's fascinating. Because get this, the organ actually controlling your deepest rest isn't just up in your head. It's an alien symbiotic ecosystem made up of roughly 100 trillion microorganisms. It literally weighs up to 2 kilograms, and it's living inside your gut. Just think about that for a second. You are essentially a walking, breathing ecosystem. You are vastly outnumbered. We used to think of these microbes as just passive passengers, along for the ride to help us digest our food. But modern science has uncovered a reality that is far more awe-inspiring. These organisms are actively pulling the levers of your biology.
Okay, let's dive into our first major concept: your body's neurochemical factory and the hidden source of sleep.
Look at this staggering number, 95%. Approximately 95% of your body's serotonin is produced in the gut, not the brain. Now, why does this matter so much for your rest? Well, because serotonin is the direct biological precursor to melatonin. That's the hormone that initiates sleep. If your gut flora isn't producing serotonin, your brain literally lacks the raw materials it needs to power you down at night.
But wow, it goes even deeper than that. We've all been taught in biology class that the brain's pineal gland is the master producer of melatonin, right? Well, prepare to have your paradigm completely shifted. Specialized enterochromaffin cells in your gut actually produce 400 times more melatonin than your pineal gland. 400 times more. The gut is the true master of your sleep chemistry.
You really have to think of this as your own personal gut sleep pharmacy. Specific strains of bacteria, like lactobacillus and bifidobacterium, actively manufacture the exact same neurotransmitters your brain uses to initiate and deepen restorative sleep. They're essentially working the night shift at a microscopic pharmacy inside you. They synthesize GABA, which acts as the neurological brakes for your nervous system, calming down an overactive mind. They ferment fibers to produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which are absolutely crucial for sleep efficiency. But of course, this raises a massive question, right? How do these chemicals down in your stomach actually get up to your brain to put you to sleep?
Which leads us perfectly to our next section, the bidirectional sleep highway. Let's look at exactly how the gut and the brain communicate. Science calls this the microbiota gut-brain axis, or the MGBA. I know, it sounds super clinical, but it's not just a textbook term. It is a bustling electric superhighway. Information is constantly flashing in both directions simultaneously in this real-time biological crosstalk. When your brain is stressed, it shoots a signal down to the gut. But more importantly for our rest, when the gut microbiome is balanced, or when it's disrupted, it sends immediate, really powerful signals straight up into your central nervous system to regulate your sleep architecture.
Understanding how these signals travel literally changes everything. There are 4 main pathways lighting up inside you right now. First up, the vagus nerve. This is a physical fiber optic cable linking your gut straight to your brainstem. Bacteria metabolites bind to these nerve endings, flashing a rapid signal to your brain to calm down. Second, there's the endocrine system, where microbes directly influence your cortisol and stress hormones. Third, the metabolic pathway, where compounds like butyrate physically cross the blood-brain barrier to promote that deep, slow-wave sleep. And fourth, the immune cascade, where cytokines regulate brain inflammation and wakefulness.
But we have to look at the dark side of this highway. What happens when it's compromised? If your gut barrier loses its integrity, which is what we casually call leaky gut, inflammatory toxins like lipopolysaccharides or LPS slip right into your bloodstream. They travel up that immune cascade, cross over into the brain, and activate your microglia. This creates severe neuroinflammation. Have you ever woken up at 3 a.m. feeling completely wired, your heart is racing, and you're entirely unable to fall back asleep? Yeah, you aren't just stressed. You might actually be experiencing neuroinflammatory sleep fragmentation driven directly by distress in your gut. This leads us to a completely unexpected, awe-inspiring discovery about how these organisms operate. Let's look at the microbiome's circadian clock, disruption, and decay.
Get ready for this, because it turns out your microbiome actually experiences time. It has its own 24-hour circadian clock. Try to visualize this not as a boring list, but as an orchestrated biological dance. Your gut bacteria actively shift in population and function throughout the whole day. Around 8 a.m., firmicutes hit their peak to help process your morning food. By 2 p.m., mucosal immune defenses align perfectly with your digestion. As darkness falls around 10 p.m., bacteroidetes peak to prepare your body for fasting and rest. And then, in the deep of the night, around 3 a.m., short-chain fatty acids and sleep-promoting metabolites just flood his system to sustain your deep, non-REM sleep. The biological matrix is beautifully, perfectly synchronized.
But look at what happens when our modern habits just smash into our evolutionary biology. I'm talking shift work, jet lag, or late-night eating. Under normal light-dark cycles, we see highly diverse flora, with protective bacteria like Lactobacillus johnsonii securing the gut barrier. But the second you introduce circadian disruption, that beneficial flora drops off a cliff. Instead, Rhumacoccus torques, which is this opportunistic scavenger that absolutely thrives in the chaos of erratic schedules, aggressively multiplies. This bacterium literally degrades your intestinal mucus barrier, sparking massive systemic inflammation. So erratic light doesn't just make you tired, it breeds a biologically hostile environment inside you.
Okay, let's pivot from the problem to empowerment. Welcome to Precision Nutrition for Sleep. Let's talk about reprogramming the operating system. If the gut controls our sleep and our daily habits control the gut, how do we consciously rewrite the code? It's not just about eating healthy, it's about feeding the matrix. Think about this profound perspective shift. You are not just eating for yourself anymore. You are eating for your 100 trillion passengers. Researchers measure this using the Dietary Index for Gut Microbiota, or DGIGM. When we look at highly processed diets full of refined grains and artificial junk, we see severely reduced bacterial diversity and fractured sleep architecture. But high DGIGM diets, the ones rich in specific fibers and prebiotics, dramatically increase that butyrate production. And this isn't just theory. Clinical data shows that higher DGIGM scores are directly associated with longer sleep duration and a significantly lower risk of insomnia. And science is getting incredibly targeted here with an emerging field called psychobiotics. These are probiotics formulated specifically for brain health. This is a massive paradigm shift, folks. We are no longer just popping chemical pills for sleep, we are prescribing live organisms. Look at the data. L-plantarum PS128. In chronic insomniacs, it measurably increased N3 deep sleep delta wave power. That is the most restorative, deeply healing stage of sleep. Then you have B. breve CCFM 1025, which significantly reduced cortisol levels in people dealing with stress-induced insomnia. Prebiotics, like galacto-oligosaccharides, have been proven to increase non-REM sleep and build stress resilience. We are literally learning how to directly implant the exact bacteria needed for deep rest. So what does this actually look like in your daily life? Here are some real, actionable foods that repair the gut lining and feed those sleep-inducing microbes. Kefir contains live, GABA-producing lactobacillus. When you drink tart cherry juice, you are just hydrating. You are delivering raw melatonin and polyphenols directly to your gut's sleep pharmacy. Things like garlic, onions, and leeks serve as the raw prebiotic fibers those bugs love. Just 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed a day acts as a prebiotic powerhouse loaded with tryptophan. And the omega-3s in walnuts and salmon, they actively calm the gut inflammation that fractures your sleep in the middle of the night. Let's pull back and look at the big picture in our final section, the interconnected biological web and the long-term consequences. As we zoom out from the microscopic gut to the entire lifespan of a human being, the magnitude of what we're discussing becomes crystal clear. This isn't just about waking up feeling a bit more refreshed tomorrow. We're looking at the awe-inspiring, intricate domino effect of aging. It starts simply: disrupted sleep and high stress. That tips the next domino, step 2, gut dysbiosis and the breakdown of your intestinal barrier. Then step 3, systemic inflammation as toxins like LPS leak into your blood. Step 4, your hormonal HPA axis becomes hyperactive, physically accelerating biological aging. And finally, step 5, chronic neuroinflammation sets in, silently driving cognitive decline over decades. But here is the incredible news. Because these systems are completely interconnected, intervening right at the gut level can halt this entire cascade.
Healing the gut is the ultimate key to unlocking restorative sleep and real human flourishing. It completely changes how you should see your body, how you view your aging process, and how you imagine your future. Because health is not a collection of separate habits. Health is the emergent result of countless interconnected biological processes occurring every moment of every single day. By mastering your biological matrix, you don't just change your sleep, you change your life. Which leaves you with one final profound question to ask yourself tonight before you close your eyes. When you finally go to sleep, who exactly is putting you to bed?